Students returning to the UVU campus to pick up their belongings today. Others were there to grieve and find some peace ahead of classes that will be resuming on Wednesday.
2 News' Leslie Duarte spoke to students and the school about reopening day. Leslie, what did they tell you?
Mark, Heidi, this day today is still very emotional for some students. Right behind me is the courtyard where the fatal shooting happened last week. Just moments ago, a group put a American flag there just above the area where Charlie was speaking at the time of the tragedy. Students around here have been walking throughout the courtyard, very emotional, hoping that they can find some peace before classes resume on Wednesday.
It was a good closure. It's okay to kind of go back there. It makes it less scary, especially to do that before school resumes.
Jessica Moore, a student at UVU, says she needed to come back one more time before school starts on Wednesday.
We kind of walked through exactly where we had been and kind of like where we exited and got to a safe place, kind of just almost reenacting it a little bit. And so I think that was kind of helpful to kind of just remember that we did everything right in the situation.
Feeling safe, something Moore says she's coping with.
The first step is kind of just moving on a little bit and kind of just continuing with where you were.
What do you need from the school to be able to move forward and heal?
I think definitely pretending like it didn't happen isn't a good thing. I don't think that they're gonna do that by any means, but I think it's okay to like mention it and like just reminding all the students that like we're here for each other and that like we love everyone.
Hunter Sower wasn't at the event, but asks the school to help those impacted.
I think the biggest thing is helping people talk and process what's happened. So I think they've done well with that.
I reached out to UVU for an interview. The school declined, but in a statement said, "We have mobilized additional counseling and trauma support services for all members of the campus community and urge everyone to seek help."
Eventually we'll get back into it and everything will be okay again.
As mentioned in the story, the campus is offering mental health counseling groups. That information can be found on our KUTV 2 News website. Reporting live from the courtyard at UVU, Leslie Duarte, KUTV 2 News.
Leslie, thank you. With classes resuming at UVU this week, Governor Cox is sharing a message with all Utah College students.
Right now, it may feel like rage is the only language in our politics, but you have the power to choose differently. Every person you meet is more than a party or more than a label, more than a post online. Everyone deserves dignity and respect.
Governor Cox also saying today Utah's college campuses must be a place for the free exchange of ideas. He says that means talking to people you disagree with instead of fighting. The governor also calling on Utah college students to spend less time online and more time talking to others or giving community service. As for the assassination, the Utah Department of Public Safety saying they believe that Tyler Robinson acted alone on the day of the shooting, but they say they are still investigating.
I can tell you our investigators are working hard and we're leaving no stone unturned, whether that be in social media, websites, personal contacts. Our investigators are working hard to make sure that if there is any contributors to this or if there's anybody that we feel is tied to it, that we find them and that we hold them accountable.
So far, Commissioner Bo Mason says people who had contact with Robinson have been very cooperative. The Utah County Attorney will release charging documents tomorrow. Once that happens, investigators will be able to discuss more specifics about this investigation.
And as for Robinson, the Utah County Sheriff's Office says he is being held in a special housing unit so staff can keep a close eye on him. Robinson will remain under enhanced supervision until he completes a mental health evaluation that could take several days. While deputies are unaware of any suicide comments from Robinson, he will continue to be watched by staff.
We're also now hearing from people in southern Utah where Robinson lived. An employer says Robinson worked for him in 2023 through the Dixie Tech apprenticeship program. He says he never had any issues with Robinson and describes him as, quote, on the quieter side, someone who kept his head down and tried to learn the tools of the trade, never raising any red flags. The employer let Robinson go after 10 months when he said he, quote, wasn't working out.
Unaffiliated criminal defense attorney Sky Lazaro saying the release of Robinson's mugshot and prominent figures like President Trump and Governor Cox calling for the death penalty could make this case more difficult to prosecute. Lazaro says this leads to people getting judged in the court of public opinion before the case actually goes to trial.
Because we've seen so much in the media, and that's just the world that we live in right now. They've put in some certain protections, like call a larger number of jurors, things like that, to try to ensure that you get people on there who are at least seemingly or will say that they're unbiased in the case.
Ultimately, Lazaro says it's up to the Utah County Attorney's Office how they're going to proceed and if they will seek the death penalty.
And tomorrow we'll be getting our first look at Tyler Robinson as he makes his first court appearance. Here's how we're expecting the day to lay out and play out. At noon tomorrow, Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray plans to file formal charges against Robinson. We are anticipating more details of the crime, its planning, and what happened in the aftermath in those charging documents. Then as we look forward in the day, starting at 3 o'clock, that's when Robinson will make his first court appearance in 4th District Court. That's in Provo. However, this hearing is scheduled to be virtual, so that means Robinson will appear on camera from the Utah County Jail in Spanish Fork. During that hearing, we expect Robinson will be read the charges that will be filed against him. Also, things that we're keeping track of as well right now in this investigation. The judge will then decide if Robinson needs to hire his own attorney or if he's indigent, which means he can't hire his own attorney, and the state will appoint one for him. If that's the case, in the public defender's office in Utah County, they'll likely appoint one for him. The hearing will wrap up with the judge setting the next hearing date. We'll be watching as well.
Since Charlie Kirk's assassination, Utah Democrats say they've been receiving death threats.
I've had some of my Republican colleagues reach out to me because some of us have been receiving intimidating phone calls or messages, emails, because we're being blamed for the murder of Charlie Kirk.
It's Representative Angela Romero making those comments today. She says people are calling almost every Democrat on Capitol Hill, along with state party offices. Romero says these people are making threats and demanding that they even leave the state of Utah. Despite this, Romero says she's open to working with Republicans while still having difficult conversations about all the important issues. And in Washington, House Speaker Mike Johnson leading a bipartisan vigil for Charlie Kirk in Statuary Hall at the Capitol. Hundreds of lawmakers taking part, many holding candles. The speaker has called on lawmakers to tone down the political rhetoric. This comes as the Trump administration is asking Congress for $58 million to increase executive and judicial branch security. The president also supports more funding to protect lawmakers.
We are learning more about the first person arrested after Charlie Kirk was shot.
Yeah, Jamie McGriff has that information for us on the live desk. Jamie.
Mark and Heidi, police arrested George Zinn right after the shooting. At the time, authorities say Zinn confessed, but it soon became clear that he wasn't the gunman. After putting Zinn in handcuffs, officers realized he didn't have a weapon. They took him to the police station. Officers asked Zinn why he confessed, and he says he did it to draw attention away from the real shooter. Due to a medical condition, Zinn was transported to the hospital. Now he's accused of obstruction of justice.
And as always, we'll keep you updated on the assassination of Charlie Kirk, including Sunday's memorial service and the legal case against the shooter during the news on KUTV.com, also on the 2 News app.